Run It Back Philly's in the building. Hit the like.
Hit the like.
Hit the like button right now.
Run It Back Nation! What is good? It is your boy DJ with Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. I feel like the off season is like officially starting, man. Like officially starting. The off season is officially starting. And the off season is a place where we talk ridiculous rumors, ridiculous trade scenarios, and we make the most out of little intricate things like an assistant coach leaving or a backup center becoming a free agent. All those things. All the things that only the craziest of Sixers fans actually care about. Shout out to 127 people in here. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. YouTube, podcasters, content creators. We put a lot of work into this content. It's free for you to watch. You got to skip some ads or whatever. You got to sit through a 15-second commercial or whatever. Kids these days will never know the struggle of watching a 1-hour show that only had actually 20 minutes of content because you had to sit through entire commercials on live TV. You got to skip a commercial. You got to watch a 15-second ad. But really, it's free. All we ask is that you close out the chat and hit the like button. Yeah, that's all we ask, man. That's all we ask. And subscribe to this channel. If you watch this channel, the clips, the live shows, whatever it is, all the time, and you're not subscribed, that is fraudulent behavior. And this is the No Fraud Zone! All right, let's get down to business. Now, 5 takes in the chat before I give you my opinion on some things, all right? And then I got to go to Lowe's to buy a bagger for my lawnmower. Yeah, real grown-up vibes out here. Let's see. The most we're getting for Tobias Harris is a sandwich with a bag of potato chips. I agree with that. You know, this happens every offseason. The people on the Twitter sphere, the people on YouTube, in the YouTube comments, which, by the way, it's still a debate which one's a crazier place to be, YouTube comments or Twitter. But every offseason, people throw around these trades, and they usually throw around Tobias Harris, and it's usually some ridiculous return that they think they're going to get for Tobias Harris, and it's just, it ain't gonna happen. You know, who called the show on Friday and said that the Nets should trade us Cam Johnson for Tobias Harris? Tobias Harris, a 14-point-per-game player, making Damian Lillard money. It ain't happening, okay? You're not getting anything for him. You got to try to flip him. You got to try to get rid of that contract. You're probably going to have to throw in a second-round pick at least, I would think, on that. Take number 2 in the chat. We should stay far away as we can from Demar Derozan. That's an interesting one, man. People hear names in the offseason, and they get excited about names. And I'm going to get into that a little bit about how the Bulls are probably going to blow it up. I don't see Zack LaVine remaining there. I don't see... I see certain things being changed there. They got 2 players on pretty big contracts in Zack LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. They seem a little redundant. You know what I mean? It's kind of a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum vibe that I get from those 2 guys. They just kind of take turns. It doesn't really look cohesive. It doesn't look like they feed off each other or really work together that well. So I would expect the Bulls to move one of Zack LaVine or try to move one of Zack LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. They did just... It was just rumored that they want to extend Nikola Vucevic for 3 more years, so they're committed to, I guess, building around him. But yeah, we'll talk about that coming up too. Let's see what else we got. I just want Trash Harris traded for somebody's or anybody over the summer. Looking at Jimmy Butler, knowing we could have had him instead of Trash Harris. All the money we were paying him for nothing. Damn, bro, going hard with the Trash Harris take. Yeah, look, I think the Sixers ownership offered Jimmy Butler a max contract. Jimmy Butler said no because he didn't want to be under Brett Brown, and he thought the Sixers organization was a train wreck. And he was right. It was. And he said, look at Eric Spoelstra down there. Look what he's doing. Look what I can do with him down there. Bam Adebayo and whoever else is drafted. I think after Jimmy signed or whatever. But either way, you know, Miami gave him what he wanted. He went there. I don't think it was a choice between Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. I don't think anybody in their right mind, even the Sixers' dumbass ownership group, wouldn't look at Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris and say, we'll take Tobias on a max contract. No, thank you, Jimmy Butler. They told Brett Brown, can you control him? And Jimmy was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Can you control him? I'm out of here, bro. You guys don't realize that I'm the one that can leave whenever I want? Like, I'm the one. I'm out. See you later. They did work out a sign and trade that landed you Josh Richardson, but what did that really do for you? 3 more in the chat. 3 more in the chat. Let's see. Here's one trade scenario. Sports Kingdom says Jarrett Allen, Cedi Osman, and Rubio for Harris, but you get 4 years of Allen for $20 million. Okay, Cedi Osman is a absolute bucket. First of all, multiple 30-point games last season. Why would the Cleveland Cavaliers right now, when trying to build around a Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland team, be interested in trading Jared Allen, who locks down the middle and is their defensive center? Can't stop Joel Embiid, but he could stop a lot of other players. Why would they be interested in giving him, Cedi Osman, and Ricky Rubio for Tobias Harris? No, they're not. Nobody's interested, bro. I just said nobody's giving you good players for Tobias Harris. It ain't happening. That does nothing for the Cleveland Cavaliers at all. Nothing at all, besides gives them the Tobias Harris contract. Let's see. Two more. The same Allen that got punked by Julius Randle. Are you guys trying to be the Raptors from 2018? I mean, yeah. Sure. Of course we are. Because the Raptors from 2018 promoted Nick Nurse. They improved ball movement. They improved three-point shooting. They improved offensive creativity. And then the next year, he was promoted to head coach, and he won an NBA championship. So, yeah, I mean, are we trying to be a good enough team to be on the cusp of winning an NBA championship is basically what you're asking. And the answer is yes. One more. Daryl Morey is going to turn Harden into a $50 million trade exception, sign Van Vliet into space, and we will get exited in the second round. Wait, what? Wait, Biggie, what, bro? Morey is going to turn Harden into a $50 million trade exception? How exactly can he do that? And sign Van Vliet into space, and we will get exited in the second round. Maybe I didn't drink enough coffee. I don't know what's going on here, but, it is the offseason. We're saying crazy things, and you guys are right on par saying crazy things in the chat. 203 people in here. Shout out to everybody in here. Thanks for being here. I didn't even get up the Sam Cassell thing. All right, let's get to business, man. Let's get down to business. Look, let's get down to business, okay? All right, everybody hit the like button. Sam Cassell is gone, okay? Now, first of all, why is everybody acting like Sam Cassell was like a serious game changer for the Philadelphia 76ers, and we just absolutely shot ourselves in the foot by watching him, by letting him go? Why is everybody acting like Sam? I like Sam Cassell, by the way. I like Sam Cassell. I like what he did with Tyrese Maxey. I like how he is with players in training. What I'm saying is this does not matter at all. This doesn't matter at all. Somebody DM'd me this tweet, and it said, "We're screwed, blow it up." And I was walking down the sidewalk with my girlfriend last night, legitimately, to a friend's house to sit outside by a fire and watch the NBA Finals. Shout out to the NBA Finals outside sitting by a fire. You should try it. It was dope. But I was walking down the sidewalk, and I just looked at my phone, and my DM on Twitter said, "We're screwed, blow it up, Shams Charania." So I'm like, oh my God, Shams tweeted something, some big giant news that means the Sixers are totally screwed. James Harden re-signs for the biggest contract of all time at 34 years old. Something crazy. I open it, and it says, Sam Cassell has agreed to join the Boston Celtics coaching staff under Joe Mazzulla. Who cares? Bro, who cares, bro? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Yes, Sam was a great development coach. It's not the end of the world. There is a billion NBA training coaches that develop players, that put players through drills to work on individual parts of their game to get better. Did Sam Cassell personally develop Tyrese Maxey? Absolutely not. Tyrese Maxey's a baller. Tyrese Maxey's a worker. Tyrese Maxey works on his basketball skills every single day. Do you guys think that basketball is this super complicated, some kind of rocket science? Because it's not. It's absolutely not. Tyrese Maxey would develop in the NBA with any number of NBA training coaches that you throw at him. Here, do drills to improve your left-handed drives. Do drills to improve your run. Do drills to improve your crossover. Do drills to improve your step-back jumper from the corner. Do catch-and-shoot drills from the corner with the hand in your face. Come on. Sam Cassell didn't invent developing. And then somebody said to me, Sam Cassell's going to Boston, where he's going to give intel on our team to the Boston Celtics. And he's going to teach Jaylen Brown how to dribble and have a left hand. Bro, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Is this the United States government at war with another country? Give intel? Anybody in the NBA can look at the Sixers roster and know what they do. There's no secret. There's no secret intel that Sam Cassell is holding. That he's going to Boston and being like, listen, here's the secret intel. Okay? And they're like, whoa, thank God we hired Sam Cassell so we could get that super secret intel. And now we can take out the Sixers again. It's ridiculous. And also, nobody is teaching 27-year-old Jaylen Brown how to have a dribble bag and how to dribble with his left hand. Sam Cassell's going to go there and wave a magic wand over Jaylen Brown, and suddenly he's going to be handling the ball like Kobe Bryant. Come on, man. Come on, man. All I'm saying is you're making way too much out of assistant coaches in the NBA. It doesn't matter. What Sam Cassell did with developing players, there's a million other guys that do the same exact thing. It's not that complicated. Also, Sam Cassell realized when the Sixers hired Nick Nurse, I now have no shot at becoming a head coach of this Philadelphia 76ers team. Nick Nurse is young. Nick Nurse has a championship in the NBA, championship in the G League, 2 championships in the British League. He's a winner. They're probably going to give him several years to try to get this team over the hump. I would assume 4 or 5 if it starts to trend in the right direction. So he's not going to stay under that if he wants a head coaching job. He goes to Boston. Why do you think he went to Boston, by the way? Joe Mazzulla was being talked about as quite possibly being fired because the Celtics blew the Eastern Conference Finals to the Miami Heat. Now the Celtics announced they're moving forward with Joe Mazzulla, and, Brad Stevens says how much he likes him or whatever. Sam Cassell probably said, hey, this guy, I got one guy that was just hired that's not going to be fired anytime soon. I can go to Boston where this guy almost just got fired. Now I can be right underneath there. And as soon as Joe Mazzulla inevitably gets fired next season because they fail to move on from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and that combination of players doesn't work because everyone knows it doesn't work, but they're going to make the coach a scapegoat, Sam Cassell has a chance of being promoted. That's why he went to Boston. That's my take on it, man. That's my take on it. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter at all. Anyway, Kastner, thanks for being a member of the channel, my dude, and thank you for supporting the channel with Super Chats. Why does every Sixers fan want DeRozan? 33-year-old non-3-point shooter, perfect spacing for Embiid. Just another Tobias Harris, in my opinion. I got a hot take. Demar Derozan is worse for the Philadelphia 76ers team than Tobias Harris. Because at least Tobias Harris shoots a three-pointer at a 40% clip and developed into more of a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter this past season. I think playing Tobias Harris at the small forward is a mistake. I think the combination of Tobias Harris and P.J. Tucker at the 3 and the 4 is a disaster that I hope Nick Nurse doesn't roll with. I highly doubt he will. I thought it was ridiculous that Doc Rivers did it all season, and then when Tobias and P.J. would stink it up for a month straight, he wouldn't even consider changing his starting lineup. DeMar DeRozan doesn't do anything for you. He doesn't shoot threes. In 2023, in today's NBA, DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes. He does nothing for you. So I agree with that. I'm not interested in DeMar DeRozan. if there was a trade that went down with the Chicago Bulls wanting to blow it up or move on, and you could work out something with Tobias Harris getting rid of that contract and swinging something with the Bulls, it would probably look more something like Alex Caruso if you get a player in return. Or maybe just couple of bad expiring contracts that you buy out just to save a little bit of cap space on the Tobias Harris situation. I don't see it being Zack LaVine. I don't see it being Demar Derozan. And I don't think Demar Derozan really helps an NBA team much because he shoots twos all day, man. And unfortunately, it's a three-point shooting league. And, you know, if you're going to play the DeMar DeRozan style of basketball, I think you have to at least be a Jimmy Butler who has shooters around him and just finished a game last night with 9 assists. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler at least plays that glue guy, that kind of point guarding the small forward role type of player where he doesn't have to be a three-point sniper because he's driving, putting pressure on the defense, and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. Kicking to Max Strus, kicking to Duncan Robinson, kicking to Gabe Vincent, kicking to everybody just bombing threes out there. You know, but I don't think DeMar DeRozan really does much for you. Zack LaVine, does he do much for you? I don't know. Just interesting. Zack LaVine would be nice, but I think the Bulls are going to ask way too much for him. I think the Chicago Bulls think Zack LaVine is a superstar. I think they're asking for like multiple unprotected first-round picks or something like that. I don't really see it happening with the Sixers. I don't think the Sixers have enough draft capital. I don't think the Sixers have enough assets to offer. And I don't think Zack LaVine's worth anything what the Chicago Bulls are going to ask in a Zack LaVine trade. If the Bulls were going to blow it up and it was going to involve the Sixers somehow, it would be a different trade. I don't think it would involve DeMar DeRozan or Zack LaVine. So I go on and I Google Sixers trade Bulls, right? And I find this article posted a couple of days ago. And it says the Sixers land Bulls Zack LaVine in bold NBA trade scenario. And I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and check out how some writer thinks that Zack LaVine could land in Philadelphia. And I scroll down and I see this bunch of nonsense. Chicago Bulls receive PJ Tucker, DeAnthony Melton, Furkan Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, Montrezl Harrell, and Jaden Springer. For Zack LaVine. Bro, when did he become Michael freaking Jordan? What? Zack LaVine is a nice scorer. He can go out and give you 30. He can go out and give you 40. He can get hot from three, and if you play perimeter defense like the Philadelphia 76ers played last season, he can hit 11 threes in a game. And if you fail to adjust the whole game like Doc Rivers did his whole career, he can drop 44 like he did against the Sixers. I believe that's what it was. One of those two games. It was either CJ McCollum or Zack LaVine. They both dropped 40-plus on us. But he's a good piece to have. If you can get him around, you know, in a Zack LaVine's better for your team than Tobias Harris. I think that. But you're telling me this had to be a Bulls writer, NBA Analysis Network. PJ Tucker, sure. I don't care about PJ Tucker. I think he's going to retire this offseason. I would like for him to, you know, I don't think he has it left. I don't think he's worth the remaining $20-some million left on his contract. And we lost 2 second-round picks for tampering with the PJ Tucker situation because Daryl Moore is an idiot. So whatever, PJ Tucker. DeAnthony Melton's 24 years old, a two-way guard, a 24-year-old two-way guard. DeAnthony Melton. A good rebounder, a good one-on-one defender. Furkan Korkmaz, sure, whatever. He requested a trade last year. Nobody wants him. He can't even get on the floor in the NBA. Tyrese Maxey and Jaden's, come on, bro. No. The answer is no. That's the most ridiculous. That's honestly one of the most ridiculous trades I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And no. You're not putting Tyrese Maxey in any trade package at all anyway. Tyrese Maxey's untouchable. Tyrese Maxey's 100% untouchable. I need people to understand that. I wouldn't trade Tyrese Maxey straight up for Zack LaVine right now. Let alone Tyrese Maxey, Jaden Springer, DeAnthony Melton, PJ. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. No. All right. Now, so when I came across that, I said, okay, then let me go find out if there's any trade scenarios floating around out there that make a little more sense, right? So, a little bit more Google magic, little bit of Twitter searches, and we come across a couple of things. Here is, I don't know, some random guy on Twitter, JSantino13. He posted this trade about 79 times in the replies to every page he could find on NBA.com or every page he could find on Twitter, like NBA Central and the like, to try to get attention. And I'm bored. It's the Sixers offseason, so I'm going to give him a little bit of attention. And he said this: the rumor mill has it that the Chicago Bulls are planning on tanking. If they decide to actually do that, then this trade would make sense. Sixers get Zack LaVine and Caruso. The Bulls get Tobias Harris, Jaden Springer, and a draft pick. This is the opposite of the trade that I just looked at. The Bulls have already said they want multiple first-round picks for Alex Caruso, which I like Alex Caruso, a 6'4" defensive point guard. I like him a lot. He can bring a lot of value to your team. The Bulls aren't trading Alex Caruso and Zack LaVine for a 14-point-per-game player in Tobias Harris on a max contract, an unknown, basically, in the eyes of the rest of the NBA. We have our expectations or hope for Jaden Springer in the future. He's an unknown in the NBA, and a second-round pick. They're not trading Zack LaVine and Alex Caruso for Tobias Harris, Jaden Springer, and a second-round pick. So the last trade was ridiculous in favor of the Bulls. This trade is ridiculous, I think, in favor of the Sixers. Look, just think, I just looked at it again and laughed. I think Daryl Morey can do some magic. I think Daryl Morey's a pretty creative GM when it comes to getting off of contracts and getting out of tight situations. Pause. Daryl Morey would be an absolute god if he turned Tobias Harris and Jaden Springer into Zack LaVine and Alex Caruso. So, yeah, shout out to Jay Santino. But that trade is insane. All right? Now, where's the other article I had up here? Predictions for Austin Reeves, restricted NBA free agents. Sam Cassell, Joe Mazzulla. I don't know what that is. Where's the one with... Why am I getting ads, bro? Get this out of here. HBO Max. There's a trade between the Clippers and the Sixers. This one was supposed to be the... Look, there was a Kyrie Irving trade floated out there. And when I trade for Kyrie Irving, this was last year. Report Kyrie Irving, Nets Kyrie Irving request, Sixers rumors recapped, Kyrie Irving. That was in February. There was one that let me just hold on. I had it up here and it disappeared. You know how it goes. Proposed trade swap Sixers. Oh my God. We're back to Tyrese Maxey again. Proposed trade swap Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris for controversial star. I do respect this when it comes to the internet these days. They're now titling articles like we title YouTube videos, right? I'm not going to give you all the information in the title because I want you to click on the video. So they don't put Kyrie Irving in the title of this. They write Sixers. They write proposed trade swap Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris for controversial star. So you're like, well, who's the controversial star they're talking about at heavy.com? So I got to click on it to find out. And the answer is Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is an unrestricted free agent. What in the world would be the reason for the Sixers to, trying to get rid of if there's a sign and trade and you end up getting rid of the Tobias Harris contract, I'm all for that. What in the world would be the reason for throwing in Tyrese Maxey for Kyrie Irving, who's an unrestricted free agent? I wouldn't trade Tyrese Maxey for Kyrie Irving straight up right now, even if Kyrie was on a better contract. I wouldn't trade Tyrese Maxey for Kyrie Irving. Tyrese Maxey. Oh, that was going to be a hot take. That was going to be a hot take. It was right there. It was on the tip of my tongue. It was right there. It was going to be a super hot take. I want nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. I definitely don't want to trade Tyrese Maxey for him. I won't say Tyrese Maxey is a more skilled basketball player than Kyrie Irving, but Tyrese Maxey is better for the Philadelphia 76ers right now than Kyrie Irving is. That's how I feel about that. I got two more. Major trade idea between Clippers and 76ers that involves Tobias Harris. Let me know in the chat if you think this is... What the heck are we looking at here? Let me know in the chat if you think this is possible. This is from All Clippers Fan Nation. So this is written by Clippers, writers. And so it's in the perspective of, trying to benefit the LA Clippers. Both the LA Clippers and Philadelphia 76ers face a lot of major questions this offseason, with the Sixers having already fired Doc Rivers, hired Nick Nurse. James Harden's contract extension, we know that, while Harden's free agency looms. They do have the massive contract of Tobias Harris that still includes a guaranteed $39.2 million for next season. They gotta get rid of it, bro. The Sixers have to get off that. I thought they've been having to get off of this contract, but I think this upcoming season is the last straw. You absolutely cannot come into this upcoming season paying Tobias Harris $39.2 million. You can't do it. You absolutely cannot do it. While Harris is a productive role player, this contract is one that has limited Philadelphia's roster building options, which could push them to seek potential trade partners now that it's finally expiring. Well, it pushed them to seek potential trade partners already. They've been trying to trade this guy basically since the second year of this contract. He's never been worth the contract. You were never going to trade him. Now they will seek to trade him even heavier, yes, now that the contract is finally expiring. The NBA draft is coming up on June 22nd. The Philadelphia 76ers have absolutely zero draft picks this season. Why? Because they traded all their first-round picks over the course of the last couple of years, and they lost their second-round pick for tampering because Daryl Morey's an idiot. We can't even watch the NBA draft this year. The Sixers don't have a draft pick. So I would like to think that Tobias Harris is Daryl Morey's really going to push to trade Tobias Harris before the draft. I really, really think that. I really, really think that, and that excites me because the draft is just a couple of weeks away. In a recent article from Bleacher Report's Greg Wirtz, a reunion between Tobias Harris and the LA Clippers was proposed, with Harris heading back to Los Angeles in a deal that sends Eric Gordon, Marcus Morris, and LA's 2023 second-round pick to Philadelphia. Hey! Do you want Eric Gordon? I don't know. Does he have anything left in the tank? I don't know. I would have probably preferred Eric Gordon over PJ Tucker, to be totally honest with you, after I watched PJ Tucker this last season. Marcus Morris, he's not the good one, right? Markieff is the good one, right? Either way, I think they're both kind of on the downside of their career and on their way out. I like the dog mentality of a Morris brother. But the players in this trade scenario don't really have much to do with it at all anyway. What I'm saying is, if you can trade Tobias Harris to the Clippers for the Clippers' 2023 second-round pick, that's a win-win. That's a win-win for me. You get rid of the Tobias Harris contract. You get a couple of players in Eric Gordon and Marcus Morris. Maybe they're expiring. Maybe you buy it. Maybe there's a buyout. Maybe they still have value and you throw them in the rotation. But you get back into the NBA draft. You get his 2023 second-round pick from LA. And then Eastwood gets to watch the draft and actually care about it. But seriously, I've for a couple years now, I've been like, what's the possible way you can get rid of Tobias Harris? I haven't seen a single real possible way you could get rid of him. Something like this might be a real possible way that you get rid of Tobias Harris and you get a 2023 second-round pick in return. If you can get rid of the Tobias Harris expiring contract without having to throw anything in, I'm all for that. But I don't know if, For the Clippers, this trade idea sends out 2 expiring contracts for 1 bigger expiring contract while also bringing back a talent upgrade. Harris would slide into the starting forward position previously occupied by Morris, which would give LA much-needed production in a position which lacked any consistency last season. I don't know if this writer watched Tobias Harris play basketball this past season. He was good against bad teams, didn't show up against any good teams. That's how he usually is. But is he better than Marcus Morris at this stage of his career? Quite possibly. For Philadelphia, this would finally free them of the Tobias Harris contract while bringing back 2 veterans on expiring deals that could either be implemented into the rotation or flipped in additional trades. So there's that one. I like that. Again, if you get rid of Tobias Harris's contract and you turn it into anything, let alone Eric Gordon, Marcus Morris, and a second-round pick, sign me up. Sign me up for that. And this is the last one I'm going to talk about today. How the Sixers could swing a Fred VanVleet sign and trade this offseason. Fred VanVleet is under contract. He has 1 year left on his contract, right? Yeah. Sixers could swing a Fred VanVleet sign and trade this offseason. Now, I'm telling you straight up right now, before I even read this article, if this even says Tyrese Maxey's name, I'm turning off the live and I'm going about my day. Because Fred VanVleet is just a player that I said the Sixers should look at if James Harden walks, because he's a facilitating point guard who can shoot a 3-point shot. That's the only reason. I never said Fred VanVleet is a game changer. I never said Fred VanVleet's going to put the Sixers over the hump and lead them to an NBA championship. Nobody in their right mind thinks that. It's just that if James Harden walks, you probably want a point guard next to Tyrese Maxey who can get him the damn ball. That's what I think. Now, here's the sign and trade idea written by David Dow. No, that's the photographer. Brian Toporek of Liberty Ballers. After hiring Nick Nurse as their new head coach, the Sixers might not. Let me zoom in here. After Nick Nurse, the Sixers might not be done adding former members of Toronto Raptors this offseason. If James Harden leaves for the Houston Rockets, the Sixers could perhaps try to replace him by acquiring Fred VanVleet. VanVleet himself recently seemed to hint at that possibility. Talking about Nick Nurse when the Sixers hired him, he said, I think he'll have some success. Hopefully not too much if I'm not there and I'm staying in Toronto. Yeah, he did say that. Wow. There are realistic pathways for the Sixers to acquire VanVleet, but some are far more complicated than others. The easiest way for VanVleet to wind up in Philadelphia would be if he picks up his $22 million player option next season as part of a trade. The Sixers could offer him an extension right away as part of an extended trade, but barring any changes to the new CBA, they'd be limited to tackling only 2 more years of 5% annual increase. If they waited 6 months to sign him to an extension, that could offer him another 4 years of starting salary or nearly $32 million. Yeah, I'm not paying Fred VanVleet no $32 million. I know that for a fact if I'm the GM. If VanVleet is unwilling to pick up his player option and insists on becoming a free agent, the Sixers would instead have to convince the Raptors to sign and trade him. Two major obstacles stand in the way of that. Since VanVleet will presumably receive a starting salary above $19 million on his new contract, I guess I don't really fathom how big the NBA salary cap keeps going up. But $20 million a year for a guy like Fred VanVleet sounds a little bit crazy to me, if I'm being honest with you. The Sixers would, let's see, he could have a starting salary of $19.6 million. The Sixers could take back no more than 125% of the salary they send out in the deal, plus $100,000. Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris, the only two players on the roster earning more than $12 million next season, and the former isn't going anywhere. The Sixers could try talking the Raptors into taking Harris back in a VanVleet sign-and trade. Masai does seemingly have a fetish for power forwards after all, but that might require the Raptors to send out more salary depending on how much VanVleet. So Tobias in a VanVleet sign-and trade. If that works money-wise and you get rid of the Tobias Harris contract and you bring back a point guard if James Harden walks, yeah, I'm all for that. Even if they square away the salary matching component, the Sixers would have to make peace with hard capping themselves for the second straight season if they acquire VanVleet in a signage. Well, they're going to hard cap themselves anyway. The Sixers are never going to have cap space in this in the situation they're in right now. They're trying to win. They're trying to win. They're not going to have cap space. You got to try to get rid of the Tobias contract so that you can, flip some other players or fill in some roster holes there. But the Sixers aren't really looking for cap space, I don't think. If the Sixers were to sign and trade VanVleet, their payroll could not exceed. The apron lands $169 million into the end of the next league year into 2024. This is very complicated with the money situation. In the wake of Daniel House picking up 4.3, already guaranteed $121 million, $134 million salary cap, $162 million luxury tax line. My head hurts. I didn't come here for a math equation. What are the other possibilities? Let's say VanVleet was willing to agree to a 4-year, $120 million contract with. Bro, if the Philadelphia 76ers sign Fred VanVleet to a 4-year, $120 million contract, the city is going to burn down. I like Fred VanVleet as a point guard in a certain situation, but he's not a 4-year, $120 million player. I didn't think PJ Tucker was a 3-year, what they give him, $90 million, $30 million a year, something crazy like that. His starting salary could be $27 million. Add that to $121 million, a guaranteed salary already on the books, and the Sixers would already be at roughly $149 million. That would leave them with about $20 million to spend on 6 players before they hit the first apron. You got to extend Maxey next year. What's the news on Harden, bro? I don't think there's any news on Harden. Is there? Was there a Woj bomb that I missed or something? A minimum salary for any player with 2 or more years of any is for $2 million next season. Okay, the Sixers farmer. Even if the Sixers kept Harris on their roster for next year and a sign and trade for VanVleet this offseason. Wow, this was a lot more complicated to read than I thought it would be. Now I have a headache. Never say never, especially with Daryl Morey at the helm. If anyone can finagle his way into some creative CBA machinations, bro. Listen, I respect sports writers, but you guys are making shit up. What the hell's a machination? But if he can't convince the Raptors to take Harris back into VanVleet sign and trade, or can't get a trade exception for Houston or Harden, it could be difficult to bring VanVleet to Philly this offseason. If you get rid of Tobias and you bring in VanVleet, I like that. I don't like signing VanVleet to a $120 million contract. I just, it's... I start to get discouraged when I read things like this because it sounds really impossible for the Sixers to do anything this offseason. It really starts to feel impossible for the Sixers to do anything this offseason. It really starts to feel impossible. Yeah. That's where I'm at with it. What are you guys takes in the chat, man? Let's see. I think the Sixers should let Harden walk and go get a backup and let Maxey do his thing. I think Maxey has a lot of development time at the point guard position that he still needs, and you are trying to, unfortunately, you're still trying to win now. I don't think Tyrese Maxey is at the level of a facilitator, floor general, half-court offense running point guard right now that you need to go deep into the playoffs. I listed yesterday, what did I list? A hard pill to swallow for Sixers fans, and here's a couple of them. Let's check it out here. Here's the things that Philadelphia 76ers fans need to accept as reality this upcoming season. Number one, Joel Embiid is not in the shape he needs to be in to lead an NBA team deep into the playoffs. Flat out, point blank, period. I'm over it. I don't care anymore. You look burned out in the third quarter. You look burned out in the fourth quarter. You look burned out at the end of the season. You look burned the hell out in the playoffs. I don't care anymore. Joel Embiid, get your ass in shape. I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear a fucking joke about how you didn't do anything this offseason in your damn media day. I didn't do anything in this offseason. I sat on the couch, haha, and everybody in the room laughed. And then it turned out I did sit on the couch all offseason. Then they made up some bullshit about plantar fasciitis. Something I've never even heard of in my entire life. Until then, I still don't think it's a real thing. Get in shape, Joel. Okay? Number two, Joel Embiid scoring 33 points per game in the regular season is completely meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Nobody gives a shit anymore. I don't care. We're not going into this season celebrating Joel Embiid dropping 55 points against the Atlanta Hawks on a Monday night in November. Nobody cares anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. It's going to be hard to even watch the regular season this upcoming season because it doesn't matter. So I don't want to see another season of Joel Embiid leading the NBA in scoring and being burned out in the playoffs. Hyperextended knee, whatever it is, injury, non-injury, whatever it is. I don't want to see Joel Embiid lead the NBA in scoring and be burned out in the playoffs. Nobody cares anymore. It might be better for Joel Embiid to take a step back offensively. It might be better for Joel Embiid to play more of a in the offensive system type of role under Nick Nurse and maybe average 25. Maybe we should have a season where Joel Embiid averages 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, because your big ass should be down there getting boards, and 5 assists. Maybe we should have a season where Joel Embiid averages 25, 12, and 5. And is actually healthy and looks like he has some energy in the playoffs. But at 275 pounds, I don't want that anymore, Joel. I want you to come into the season at about 255 or 260. That's what you need to do. You've had an easy go so far through the NBA as far as who the coach is and what standards you've been held to, because the Sixers haven't had a superstar in 40 years. Well, 20 years. Allen Iverson, of course. They haven't won in 40 years. They haven't had a superstar since AI in 2001. So when you came along, the coaching staff, the front office, the ownership group, and all of the fans let you get away with being a lazy, lay on the couch all off season, drink freaking Shirley Temples and eat Popeyes on the plane or whatever it was. They let you get away with whatever you wanted to do because we didn't have a superstar in 20 years. That's over now, Joel. Everybody's over it. Every offseason you say you got your diet together and you're in the best shape of your life. Now it's time to prove it. I want you to come back into next season at about 260 and look like you're in better shape. Go watch Joel Embiid's rookie highlights. He is not moving. He was not moving this season like he was moving as a rookie. He needs to get back to that weight. That's where I'm at with that. Number 3, James Harden is the opposite of what the team really needs at this point in his career. James Harden is the opposite of what the team really needs at this point in his career. The team does not need a guy out there dribbling the ball for 20 seconds, driving the lane, trying to throw up a floater, looking like he's stuck in quicksand, resorting to hooking a defender's arm and somersaulting out of bounds, yelling at the referee while the Sixers run back in a 4-on-5 situation. James Harden has done things this past season that I think the Sixers need, which is facilitate the damn ball, run the pick and roll, and catch and shoot. He's done the catch and shoot thing from time to time. But James Harden is not a catch and shoot player. And he resorts to the ISO way too much when he doesn't have it left. He resorts to playing how he played in Houston, or trying to play how he played in Houston, but he doesn't have it left. He doesn't have that bag anymore. He doesn't have the athleticism and the lift anymore. It's over. The Sixers would be better off with a facilitating point guard who's more of a system player and a better catch and shoot player than James Harden. There, I said it. All the James Harden fanboys are still trying to find my address so they can burn me at the stake. It is what it is. Cool, you gave us a couple 40-point games in the playoffs. You stunk the other 5 games. I don't care. And they better not pay him. And I don't think Nick Nurse wants him, man. Nick Nurse runs a system that is predicated on ball sharing, hustling, team defense, and catching and shooting. That doesn't say James Harden to me, does it? Number 4, this is one that was a little bit controversial on Twitter. Tyrese Maxey is a star in the making, but needs 3 more seasons to get there. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. I love Tyrese Maxey. I think he has all the tools to be a future NBA star. I think he needs 3 more seasons to be a player who leads a team into the NBA Finals. That's what I mean by this. Can Tyrese Maxey, why do I keep wanting to say Tobias Harris when I'm talking about this guy? Can Tyrese Maxey be an all-star this upcoming season? Absolutely. Can Tyrese Maxey average 25 points per game this upcoming season? Absolutely. But what the Sixers need is a perimeter player that's going to show up and lead them into the NBA Finals. Can Joel Embiid lead the team into the NBA Finals? We don't know. So far, the answer to that has been no. I think it's discouraging the situation because then you need to look at a perimeter player like Tyrese Maxey and you need to hope that he can do it, but he's only 22 years old. The timelines aren't matching up. I think Tyrese Maxey at 25 or 26 years old can absolutely lead the Philadelphia 76ers into the NBA Finals, but I just think thinking he can do it at 22 is a little bit crazy to me. If he does it, it wouldn't totally shock me because he's already done things in a couple of off seasons that we thought were impossible. I just think that the burden and the responsibility that he would have in the playoffs at such a young age is just not there yet. That's where I'm at with all of that. Those are all the hard pills to swallow for Sixers fans this offseason, bro. Those are hard pills to swallow, and it's just I'm just here to give you the facts, man. All I've ever done is sit up here and give you the facts. We got a super chat from my guy A. I hate to say it, but Embiid is just a stat patter. I mean, you have every right to say that so far because he dominated the regular season and then he didn't get it done in the playoffs once again. So, you know, I'm not going to call Joel Embiid a stat patter necessarily. I think he's one of the most skilled centers I've ever seen with my own two eyes. But, you know, you have every right to say it until he leads the team in the NBA playoffs. You have every right to say it. What else do I got, man? Where's Sean? I got a Sean Bernard tweet that where's Sean Bernard at, man? He has all of the Sixers free agents listed, and we'll just go down the list and, you know, try to look at who should stay and who should go. Now, I'll give my opinion, and then I'll look at the chat, and you give your opinion for each one. That's what we're doing before we get up out of here, all right? Shout out to my dude, Sean Bernard. Number one, all right, here's Sean Bernard's tweet. Notable Sixers free agents this offseason. James Harden, $35.6 million player option. It is assumed that he's going to opt out of that player option because he wants a longer contract and more money. Should the Sixers want James Harden back this offseason? My answer is no. What's your answer in the chat? Just a straight yes or no on James Harden. Should you want him back? Flat out. Should the Sixers want James Harden back this offseason? Speed Demon, hell no. I agree with that. The Harden stands are angry about it. Oh, you would have got swept if it wasn't for him. Cool. We lost 4-3 instead of 4-0. Nobody cares. Paul Reed, restricted free agent. Who knows really, you know, what kind of money Paul Reed's going to command in the market. I think Paul Reed showed an incredible amount of potential this season in certain games where he was actually given a chance, in games where he was actually put on the floor with, you know, NBA players that gave him a chance to show what he can do in a lineup and what value he can bring to a team on the floor. I thought Paul Reed showed a ton of potential. The Sixers should want Paul Reed back. But it depends on what money he's offered from other teams, because the Sixers can't spend a bunch of money on a backup center. But I love Paul Reed, and I think finally, now that his biggest hater in the entire world, Doc Rivers, is gone, Paul Reed should be given the chance to be the 100% full-time backup center for the Sixers. And I think Nick Nurse should experiment with playing Joel Embiid and Paul Reed on the floor together, something that Doc Rivers never experimented with, because Doc Rivers never experimented with anything. George Niang, unrestricted free agent. No. Please, George Niang, thank you. I like your attitude. I love what you bring to a locker room. No. I can find a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter somewhere else in the NBA that can maybe play a little bit of defense on the other side of the ball. I don't need it to be George Niang. He can't jump. He can't defend anybody. As soon as he comes onto the floor, pause, bro. As soon as he gets on the floor, somebody has to come over and double it. Seriously, I watched it happen so many times. No to George Niang. Jalen McDaniels, yes. And I think Jalen McDaniels will be affordable because Doc Rivers didn't use him right. So his value is at an all-time low. He didn't really get any playing time in the playoffs when the games mattered the most. He ended up being completely glued to the end of the bench after we traded Matisse Thybulle for him. So I think Jalen McDaniels' value across the NBA is at an all-time low, and I think he has a lot of potential, and he has a lot of tools that the Sixers can use. And I think Nick Nurse can definitely get a lot more out of Jalen McDaniels than Doc Rivers did. So I'm all in on re-signing Jalen McDaniels, and I think he will be pretty affordable. Also, Shake Milton, no, see you later. I've seen enough of Shake Milton. I feel like he's been with the Sixers for 10 years. It was a nice story. He's a G League guy that came up into the NBA when the Sixers didn't have any options at point guard. Brett Brown was forced to play Shake Milton because Ben Simmons was a fraud and was refusing to do anything in the half court. I just don't think Shake Milton is a very high-level NBA player. I'm sorry. A lot of people love Shake Milton. It is what it is to me. Montrezl Harrell, hell no. He has no value left. He can't rebound. He can't defend. He can't really do much of anything in the NBA at this point. Unfortunately for us, he has a $2.7 million player option, which if Montrezl Harrell is smart, and, you know, he did get pulled over with 3 pounds of marijuana in his car, so is Montrezl Harrell smart? I don't know. But if he's smart, he will pick up a $2.7 million player option because I don't think anybody at this point in Montrezl Harrell's career is giving him $2.7 million. So I think he's going to pick up the option, and then the Sixers are going to have to try to trade him to dump it or something. I don't know. I'm not a salary cap guy, but there's Montrezl Harrell. And the last one is Dwayne Dedmon. Just no. The answer is no to that. So I'm in on bringing back Paul Reed and Jalen McDaniels in this whole list. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. I'm not interested in basically any of these other players that are on here. James Harden, because I feel like where he is at his career and the money that he wants, I'm saying no. George Niang just should not have even been on the floor in the NBA playoffs at this stage of his career and the level of fitness that he is not at. Shake Milton, I'm just not a big fan of as a player. I'm sorry. Montrezl Harrell's probably going to pick up a $2.7 million player option. And Dwayne Dedmon, why did we even sign the guy? We released Charles Bassey with an open roster spot, and then we went and signed Dwayne Dedmon, who the Miami Heat released, because he's done in the NBA. And then Doc Rivers sat up there and said, we have Dwayne Dedmon, we got to get him minutes. No, we don't! Bro, you should have kept Charles Bassey. He was a phenomenal backup center option, but you let Doc Rivers just connive and gut a team from the inside and ruin part of their rotation for the future with the Isaiah Joe, Charles Bassey thing. You just let Doc Rivers do too much damage. And now you finally got rid of him. Daryl Morey can finally do what he wants to do. Him and Nick Nurse are probably going to be more on the same page in the decision-making than him and Doc Rivers were. But it's a little too late because Daryl made some good draft picks in Isaiah Joe and Charles Bassey, and they're gone. And they're gone because of Doc Rivers. So that's sad. But there's my take on Sixers free agents so far at this stage of the offseason also. Anyway, been up here for an hour. Thank you all for tuning in. 322 people in here. Please do me the big favor of hitting the like button on this stream, telling your friends about the show, sharing the stream, posting it on your Twitter page, Instagram page, whatever else. And subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do tomorrow at 12. I think I might start doing Tuesdays at night with collaboration type of shows. Like we used to do the 4-point play. We used to do round tables with RB and, you know, Sean Bernard and other Philly sports content creators. Yeah, I got some serious allergies going on. I can't breathe right now. So, you know, stay tuned. Stay up on the Instagram page and the Twitter page to find out what I'm doing tomorrow and what time we're going live and things like that. Hit the notification bell. With that being said, I'm out of here. Y'all have a great day. Peace.